Ever since Bill Belichick was announced as the new head coach for the North Carolina Tar Heels, the national media has been going absolutely wild, with all kinds of different comments, demonstrative or supportive, or even saying, and I quote from Stephen A. Smith, this job is beneath him. But there's something that the national media is missing in this whole endeavor. I don't hear anybody talking about it. Here at the local level, we understand this as North Carolina fans, and I feel like it's time that we share that message to the world, and maybe some of these national guys will pick up on it. What's going on, Tar Heel fans? My name is Nathan. I am one half of your Heel Brothers, and today I want to talk a little bit about Bill Belichick and the Bill Belichick effect, if you will, on the North Carolina Tar Heels. As a North Carolina fan myself, a football diehard, I absolutely love the football team. Don't tell anybody, it might be a little sacrilege by saying this, but I actually like the football team, and I have loved the football team a little bit more than the basketball team, not just this year, but for a good number of years at this point in time. But when Bill Belichick was announced as the head coach of the North Carolina Tar Heels, obviously that comes with national attention, whether you like it or you're not. North Carolina, football-wise, definitely never, ever gets national attention. It hasn't earned that right. And now that we're in the spotlight, you listen to everybody talk about North Carolina athletics, and they talk a little demonstratively about it and how it's been, rightfully so to a degree. And also that with this hire, North Carolina does not deserve a head coach like Bill Belichick, and why in the world would he ever come here, and what's the issue? He should be in the NFL. There's been so much talk about Bill in this move to Carolina, and I'm hearing that. And one thing that I do believe that hasn't been told on the national level is the full story of this hire, why it happened, and what it signifies for not only Bill Belichick as a person, but for North Carolina as a university and its athletic department going forward. And that is the bigger conversation here, because as I believe I can speak for many of us Tar Heel fans when I say this, this move isn't purely about Bill Belichick. It's got a lot to do with North Carolina and its commitment to its athletic program and also the football program. And I think that the local guys have done a really good job. Guys like Tar Heel Illustrated and Andrew Jones, everybody over there at Inside Carolina, Tar Heel Times, Keeping It Heel, all these people have done such a great job. And I would definitely say go check them out, because they have been on this hire ever since it come out. They did a great job. If any of them happen to see this video, thank you very much for the work that you do, and thank you for keeping us Tar Heel fans informed. But let's talk about this move for Bill Belichick. Let's talk about the Bill Belichick factor first. Let's talk about him as a human being. A guy in Bill Belichick, he is an 8-time Super Bowl champion, 2 as a coordinator, and 6 as a head coach of the New England Patriots. I grew up as a Rams fan. I'm still a Rams fan, and I couldn't stand the Patriots. For all the years of their winning. We're local to Charlotte. They beat the Carolina Panthers, and it was not a fun time being around Bill Belichick. And he is, in my opinion, the GOAT when it comes to the NFL coaches. I think he is the greatest of all time in the NFL. He's best friends with the greatest of all time in college. And those two's dominance has just been absolutely amazing. But why, at this point in stage of his life, come at 72 years old down a level to the University of North Carolina, coming to college football in general? I think a lot of it has to do with the evolution of college football. This guy is a coach. He is just like Mac Brown was, and we love and thank Mac Brown. Without Mac Brown coming back and building the foundation, Bill Belichick is not our head coach right now. I can tell you that much for sure. But with him, he got out of the NFL. Things had ended in New England. It was time to finally say goodbye. And he went for a head coaching job in the NFL, and they couldn't get one. It's a good question why. We will probably never know until maybe later on in life that why the reason he wasn't able to get a head coaching job. From what some insiders per report say, they're very territorial about their jobs. You know, Bill Belichick is a guy that commands a level of control over the program or the organization, for that matter. But needless to say, he didn't become a head coach last year, and he had to sit out a year, and he couldn't stand it. On top of that, he became a media darling, and he did a good job with it. I thought he's done a really good job on the Manning Cast, on the Pat McAfee show. Anything he's popped up on, he has done a great job with, and that's amazing. But this man's a head coach, and he wants to go coach. So what does he do? He starts eyeing up the college game. He is a big fan of anything that his dad did. And his dad was a great coach on the collegiate level. He actually was an assistant coach at North Carolina, went to Vanderbilt, and was spent, I think it was 50 years in Navy as a head coach up there, and done a great job with it. And he is a big fan of his dad. His dad is his hero. You can definitely tell that. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I think as we're growing up in life, our fathers should be our heroes, in some certain respects. And he wanted to come back into the college game, but not only that, he was eyeing up North Carolina, and he was eyeing up North Carolina for quite a while. This is public information now. We can talk about this, but they wanted to come to Carolina, and he was asking about this job all the way back going into the fall, back in November, and to back even further than that to September. He was looking and even inquiring about this job because the college game has evolved so much. I know we talk about how it's college, you've never coached at college, you've never dealt with kids, but you listen to all these other college coaches. Yes, there are some key differences, and that's going to be something he's going to have to adapt to and learn to deal with. But this college game is very similarly ran to that of the NFL. You've got the transfer portal, free agency. You've got NIL collectives, salary caps. You have all these different things that you have to deal with that college coaches it's true. College coaches are leaving because they've never had to deal with it. You bring a guy from the NFL, he's already dealt with it at the highest level, and he's just transferring it down. And not only that, with the system that North Carolina is going to be running with Bill Belichick in that front office and the different departments and compartments of the organization, the way it's going to be ran like an NFL program, player personnel, leaders. You got the GM and Michael Lombardi. You got the head coach. You've got recruitment staff. You've got all these different things. This place is going to run like that of the NFL. It's going to be, quote unquote, a pipeline to the NFL, as Bill Belichick called it. And nothing wrong with that at all. I think that's perfectly set up, especially considering where college football is going, because it's going to the NFL model. We already understand that. You see that with a 12-team playoff that just came in. You're seeing that with the different revenue markets. You're seeing it so much with the NIL collectives. They got to put a structure on that, that's for sure. But you're seeing it vastly move towards it. Even in the game, got the 2-minute timeout, whatever, warning, it's whatever. I don't care. I'll call it a warning. Suck it, NCAA, and just get over it. But you have this game, this college game that we love, is starting to move more towards the NFL. It's becoming vastly popular. The college football is, I'd say, I don't know the analytics on it, but I'm sure it has to be every weekend that a college football team is on TV. Like it is, especially right now during the playoffs, it has to be some of the most highly viewed sports throughout the year. I'd like to see that. We need to check those analytics sometime soon and get back. But he wanted to come back. He wanted to coach. He wanted to come back to a place that his dad was a part of, that there's a little picture of little Billy sitting there in Kenan Stadium. And he was looking at this job because he saw what this university has to offer. Now we switch over to the UNC athletics part. He saw what the North Carolina had to offer and was just waiting and willing to see if they would be willing to commit. That's where the North Carolina athletic part comes in on this. Because North Carolina is a basketball school. We all know that. They're part of the ACC. They're a ACC basketball powerhouse or a national powerhouse in college basketball, and it's been that way for a very long time. On top of that, for those that may be newer to UNC athletics, their non-revenue sports are at the top of their game as well. 5 or 6 out of the last 7 or 5 out of the last 6 national championships in women's field hockey. Women's soccer just won their 23rd national championship. Wrestling's winning national championships. Tennis is winning national championships. Baseball just got to the World Series. All these different non-revenued sports are, baseball not so much, but are winning at a consistent level. North Carolina gets we call ourselves the University of National Champions. And yeah, it's kind of like a cocky thing that let's just call it what it is. But also, it's true. I think almost 60 or some odd national championships in North Carolina's history as we speak of today. And they just got one the other day with women's soccer getting their 23rd. North Carolina has been so committed to basketball, so committed to the non-revenue. Football's always been the redheaded stepchild. It always has been that redheaded stepchild that North Carolina brushes off as a necessary evil. Those are words from an insider. Buck, I'm talking about you. That Carolina's had that whole attitude that, North Carolina football, we know we'll kind of put a little something into it, but our primary focus is elsewhere. We're basically bleeding that thing to pay for these other things that we really like and our fans really like. And not to say that North Carolina fans don't love football. I know a ton of people that's why we're sitting here today. North Carolina fans are so sick and tired of being lackluster in football, to say the least. And they're ready for a change. And the university, when Mac Brown came back in 2.0 in 2018, North Carolina at that point really kind of started flirting with the idea of getting serious about football, because North Carolina football hasn't been relevant really outside of the 2015 year and a little bit in the Butch Davis days since Mac Brown was here the first time. And before then, it was LT and Lawrence Taylor in the 80s. North Carolina football hasn't been a relevant thing because the university hasn't committed to putting access and revenue into it. But in this world of this pro league that we're very vastly going towards in college, you've got to be. Take Indiana, for example. Indiana is a basketball school. I think we all know that. They've never been anything in football either, as far as I know about their history. And in 1 year, boom, they're in the college football playoffs. 1 year. How? They understood that revenues are pushed by college football. College football pushes revenue. It's what it does now. It used to be college basketball. So this stuff used to play in a team or a place like North Carolina in its favor, or a place like Indiana in its favor, because the revenue was, majorly created by basketball. Well, now it's football. That's what's driving these media deals. That's why the SEC and the Big Ten are the top two leagues, because they take football seriously, which they get the bigger money. They get all these bigger deals because, you're going to see the best football played on those fields because they're taking their program seriously, and it's driving revenue. And now SEC is lapping everybody, and SEC and the Big Ten are lapping everybody else. And now it's starting to trickle down into other sports. That's what I'm going at with this. North Carolina has finally understood that they have to commit to their football program. If they're going to continue to be good in basketball, if they're going to continue to be good in all their non-revenue sports, they have to. This isn't a maybe. They have to invest in the football program to make themselves a valuable commodity that could potentially go into a realignment very soon, and that's very possible. We've heard about the ACC potentially breaking down. It's been in talks. Clemson and Florida State trying to get out. Who would go out behind them? And ACC's in shambles. But if they can make themselves into a valuable commodity, get out, they can go to an SEC. They can go to a Big Ten. Or if somehow, some way, some super conference happens in the next few years, they could be a candidate for going there. And North Carolina has done this overnight. North Carolina went from $4 million towards the football program to $20 million in under 18 hours. The second Bill Belichick became the head coach. So North Carolina, Bill Belichick wants to be a head coach. Bill Belichick wants to be a guy leading a program. He loves the college game. He's talked about this thing. He was really successful in the NFL, so why leave in the middle of being successful in the NFL and go to college? Why do that? Also, when college starts to mature and evolve, and it eventually has, to where it looks more like the NFL, a few differences, and those are going to be something that's going to be interesting to see how he develops through. But just a few key differences. Hey, why not? You got all the experience in the world at being a head coach. You know how to run a program. You know how to program build. And that's a big thing for North Carolina as well, being able to build a program. He knows how to scout talent. Nick Saban was talking about this on ESPN College Game Day with him last night as we speak about, hey, I learned a lot of my stuff from you. And the system looks like you're putting in place is the system that I had because I learned it from you. And now Bill Belichick gets to go back into coaching. You see the look on his face. He's excited. He gets to be a coach. He gets to go in with a program. He gets to go and rebuild a program or really build a program, if you will. And North Carolina on the other side says, you know what? We're going all in for football. We're going all in on this because it trickles down. It's going to lead revenue. It's going to bring more money to the university. It's going to bring more national attention. And we want to win a national championship in football to finally end this whole thought process of North Carolina not being committed to football and not being committed at all to winning. That goes hand in hand. If you're not committed to football, you're not committed to winning. And it trickles down. Look at the basketball team right now. The basketball team couldn't buy a big man to save their lives. You know why? Guess what? They don't have the money coming in anymore. It's not just about the well and the bell and the storm walls anymore. Unfortunately, some people still like that stuff. But Jaron Stevenson, he went to Alabama, a big-time North Carolina recruit from Chapel Hill, went to Alabama. Why? Money. And also they have systems in place. Now with North Carolina becoming a serious program on the football side, it now can trickle down into everything else. And Bill Belichick can come in and be a head coach, and he can be a program builder. And what happens if he takes North Carolina to a national championship? I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying what if? Bill Belichick has already proven he can recruit in the portal. We've saw that 9 commits as we speak right now. So why can't he do it? I want to know what you guys think down in the comments. Let me know what you guys think down there below. I'm hoping that with this, we can reach the national media in some sort of sense and show them like, hey, this thing is a whole lot deeper than just why would Bill Belichick want to go into college? Maybe we've answered those questions today. Maybe you guys have a little bit of a different opinion. Let me know down there in the comments below. And if you want to keep track of the transfer portal craziness and everything else going on with Bill Belichick and the North Carolina Tar Heels, make sure and click that subscribe button and also go over to our community page where you can check out updates every time a commitment comes in or transfers out or anything that happens in there. We'd like to update you guys on that community page. Also, down in the description below, you can go find our social media pages, our Twitter, and also our Facebook. And go check out both of those. Go give those a follow as well. And you guys can keep up to date with all the transfer portal craziness, all the newest news for not only North Carolina football, but baseball, basketball, field hockey, lacrosse, everything that's going on down there. We are Carolina. We love all our sports over here. We're not just a football or a basketball show here. We love everybody at North Carolina. So thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being here. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. And as always, go Heels. I'm good.